I can't blow it out. That was a mistake. Hello and welcome. Let's make this make some more sense. Hi there. How are you doing? I am your Saturday night. Welcome to your Saturday night. Oh, goodness. I'm going to let you know now that the props are entirely worth it for what amounted to not the best opening scene. I just hope that it ended up looking okay. Now, I am so glad to be with you today. As per usual, we're here to have fun. Hey, Silver Fox, if you didn't catch the opening scene, it's perfectly fine. It was fun. Oh, I decided I'd do something a little mildly cinematic. Alright, hold on. Just for you, we're going to do it again. I did put out the candle. Oh my goodness. But this is actually pretty fun. So, and there we go. That's more or less the opening scene. This was actually lit at the time to create some wonderful ambience. But the reason we need ambience is pretty simple. We're talking about film. And in that regard, we're going to have to examine some things which even on the fly with a very small budget can be done with limited or sometimes almost no tools. Just a couple props, a basic green screen, an overlay, and almost any number of simple lighting tricks. And you can actually create some pretty awesome stuff even on a budget. Now bear in mind I'm doing this all while I'm filming, so with a post-production on that, it would not only look better, crisper, fuller, you could edit anything out you liked. You could record it several times. And that's part of why we're here. To talk about filming techniques, and the things that you can do to create atmosphere, fun, interest, intrigue, to portray a mood on screen. Had to go ahead and take a slightly different view. And right there, we now have a few different scenes. Look at how quick and easy that was. Now, if I had automated some of this, or set it up slightly different, I could use a clicker and jump between scenes by myself. But as it is, one person can go ahead and set up multiple cameras all feeding into a singular source and then change between feeds and edit everything out later. Continue recording and you can do it again and again and again. The possibilities are actually quite large. Oh. And this is kind of what we're coming to here, which is how you can go ahead and achieve a lot with a little. So, welcome, welcome, welcome. I am your Saturday night. This is your Saturday night. I don't have an umbrella. I have a small decorative axe. Now, we need to, of course, discuss the obvious things. Number one, thank you very much. I enjoyed this set. So number one, you need multiple ways to film. Tripods, cameras, lights. And through these things, you're going to go ahead and you're going to get your set, your flow. What you're going to do to bring that intrigue, that interest. Anyone can go ahead and pick up a camera at any point in time and make magic. The hardest part about making magic isn't the magic. It's dedicating yourself to creating that magic. So, with that in mind, we're going to talk about magic, movie magic, film technique, and the things that you can do to bring a vision to life. Now, it wouldn't be your Saturday night without a horn. So we will be grabbing the horn, and I will begin to tell you about the magic we're going to make. Now, I'm going to go ahead, get some of this wine. Wine goes in the horn. Oh, and that's all the wine that's in there. That's all the wine that's in there. All right. I realized after I already had that there, I was not going to be able to properly drink from my horn with the axe in the. Oh, I just forgot the name for this kind of belt when it goes across the. I'll remember it later. Don't worry. So, I'm going to put the axe aside, and I'm going to begin to illuminate the possibilities as the axe falls upon the ground, grabbing another prop, and just drop the axe on the ground. Ugh. Alright, so, let's talk film, and let's talk the possibilities of film. I hope that our feed is looking good. It says it's excellent, so I'm going to go with that. But here we go on to our conversation and our fun. We got this. A strong. Thank you so very much. Thank you. Thank you for the emoji. Now, in filming, there are some very crucial and basic things that obviously we need to cover first. So in this case, here's a tripod. Now I actually just have a phone on it. But this is still a very, very easy front door or stepping stone for almost anyone who wants to begin making films. And our gear is where we start. Now, when it comes to gear, there's tons of choices. Whether you have professional cameras, whether or not you only have a phone, whether your setup is big or small, whether you have lights or anything, We're not going to worry about that. What we're going to concern ourselves with is, do you have a camera? Do you have a tripod? Now, you don't necessarily need a tripod when you get started. If you have someone helping you, they can actually hold the camera. You can hold the camera. You know, you can go back and forth. That's fine. But if you have a tripod, you're going to keep a nice, steady shot. And that's what we want, right? Or is it? Let me explain what I mean. There's lots of kinds of shots. There's lots of compositions that you can use in order to get the desired effect. And what is the desired effect? Well, let's break some things down. Yes, just so you know, a steady shot is sometimes something that you don't want to do. Now, there's big, expensive steady cams, there's gimbals, there's all sorts of stabilizers, but sometimes the steady shot isn't necessarily what you want. In fact, we're going to start off on the most basic and yet easiest to mess up kinds of shots, which is actually the shake shot. Now, in most, but not all, action movies, horror movies, and thrillers, the shake shot is employed. And what is the shake shot? It's actually an unsteady shot where you will have a cant, a shake, or movement. Now, the shaky camera is incredibly useful. So, do not think that every shot has to be perfectly steady. In fact, steady shots and unsteady shots provide a basis for certain types of qualities. But if you want to unbalance or potentially just shake up the viewer, an unsteady shot is actually going to be your quick move. You'd be surprised how effective it is. And if you go and you watch action movies or you watch horrors or thrillers, you're going to see that in certain types of scenes, there's an unsteady camera. A lot of fight sequences actually involve a slightly shaky, highly frenetic moving because you want to capture energy. This cat's outside, and it sounds like they're in a mood. One. Everything's okay. Now, so there's actually a good start. If you're in the mood and that's what you want to create action shots, an unsteady camera can actually add energy to your action. Whether it's following someone who's running, whether it's mounted to someone so that you can see that frenetic energy, that pace, that rapidness. You'll see it from the first person point of view, but you'll catch natural movement, which is something that we see all the time. Whether you're taking a jog, whether you're playing a sport, whatever it may be, frenetic energy is something you want. So, there we go. Here's our first shot type, and that is the unsteady cam. If you have any questions, feel free to ask as I continue to move along part by part, piece by piece. We're going to have a good time. Yep. In film itself, you need to translate everyday moments, and sometimes not everyday moments, into something which can be quickly understood by the viewer. There's so many ways to do that. So many ways. Ooh. This is going to be empty pretty soon. Now, there are other interesting things that you can do. Now, Steady Cam, obviously you want it. Unsteady Cam, obviously you want it. Emotes, obviously we want them. Yeah! Hello, Finding Cherry. It's good to see you. Alright. So as we carry on, we're going to carry on to some other interesting things. And by the way, there's lots of ways to utilize a phone other than a tripod, and some of them can actually be hand gimbals like this, or you can actually mount and use it. So there's lots of tools at your disposal. I recommend you start off easy, get a tripod, get additional things like this in the future, but you can do nice tracking shots with these, where you can actually go ahead and hold it, move. You can combine these with other stabilizers, gimbals, tripods, props, tracks, thus allowing you to do even more. But we're going to carry on. Now when it comes to framing and filming, you have to be aware of certain other things, and we're going to cover a couple of interesting things that almost have to be done in order to achieve very specific moods. All right, let's stop that for a moment. Now this is actually a 4-lit shot. Now you'll notice that texturally and the actual the lighting itself is dramatically changed now. All I've done is change camera and where my primary light source is. Don't like this one at all? That's fine, don't worry, we're not going to stay here. Now, a 4-lit shot actually can be useful for many things. It actually draws your focus, and if this one was done lit a little better, it would draw your focus in a very particular way. It's dark. We want it dark. In fact, again, moving to something like a thriller or horror movie, if I wanted to reveal something behind me, I'd want a 4-lit shot. Because you don't want anyone to see it right away. You actually want them to see it only when you want it to be seen. And that's actually something that you'll see in a lot of different types of movies. Now, if you want to create ambiance, mood, or you want a slow reveal, or you want to do that classic hero reveal, or even villain reveal, a 4-lit shot like this allows that to happen. Now, there's actually some very key points here. Number one, the camera is at a direct level with me. Because I want you on my level, I want you to feel what I feel. That's important. Let's keep that in mind. Now, a level shot like this, that's also a 4-lit shot, is actually supposed to drive you to directly connect with the subject. You actually see this in many different types of film, especially if the person on camera, in scene, if the director wants to increase your connection to them. So when the camera itself is pretty much level with the actor on screen, you can actually make someone connect better to them. And this is actually quite important. There we go, horn's done. This wouldn't be your Saturday night without a horn. Let's be fair. Now I've changed camera again, but I've changed camera in a very specific way. You see, beforehand, with the forelit shot that was actually at level, you and I were on the same level. Not only were we on the same level, but I was cast with a deep darkness behind me. The light is different now. It's not quite as severe. There's still darkness, but it's not as much. And I'm also better lit now. You can see me clearly. There's also something else you can see. You're looking up at me. This is not to humanize the subject in camera. This is actually to give them a sense of authority. And it's a small, subtle thing. But now that you're looking up at me, now that we're no longer on the same level, composition-wise, we've done something very interesting here where I can be dehumanized very easily. My qualities can be changed, and with simple lighting and camera angle, I could become someone menacing, I could become a hero, I could become a mentor. And this is a visual shorthand. So now you look up at me. And now we're face to face. And because we're face to face, we're equals. Yes, so it's actually in a lot of films, and there's a lot of movies which employ this very simple technique of changing the camera angle based on the character that you're dealing with and what role they fill. So now, say, look at this. This is fun. I'm going to put this down. Look, we're just going to leave that right there. So now you've seen actually just a couple of very simple things that can be done to change who you're dealing with. It's really interesting. Now, if I can get this right. I'm about to do another camera change because I want you to look down at me. I have to actually crouch down to make this happen. And you'll find that in some movies, they have sets which are built at different levels or that are built with a slant to them so that when they position people, they can make intentional choices like this, where someone is lit from down. I'm going to turn that off. See, now you're looking slightly down at me. And because you're looking slightly down at me, the camera angle is just ever so slightly downward, and I'm pushed down in the frame. What you can actually do is you can cast me in an entirely different light. So, you'll notice that, say, in a horror movie, victims of the horror creature, or whoever might be the terrible thing in the movie, are shot a lot of the time directly on level or shooting slightly down. Now this is either A, if it's right on level so that you can connect with my emotions, but if the camera is aiming slightly downward, it can actually shrink me. It can make me perceivably smaller to you, which, in another way, almost lets your mind know that I'm underneath something, below something. It's a fun little trick. So, those are also some camera techniques, some camera angles, and some things that you can do to change how people view someone. Ooh. Ooh, there we go. Let's go ahead. Now, I know we haven't been together very long already, but I hope that you're enjoying some of these concepts, and I'm trying to make sure to group them together so that you can follow along. I will do bigger, longer, more cohesive videos on these things in the future, if you're all interested. However, when it comes to technique, when it comes to filming, when it comes to position, there are so many things that are really important in a shot. Incredibly important. And how characters are actually framed by the camera, how they're shown on camera, and how we feel about them because of slight psychological kind of pushes. These visual shorthands that are really easy for us to understand without actually having to think about it. You can infer so much information about the person on screen. Is it a hero, a victim? Are they someone we're supposed to connect with? Are they a monster? Are they a child? Is someone authoritative? Is someone perhaps less competent or still learning? So in the mentor-mentee position, you can actually go ahead and you can just do that one little thing. One camera looks slightly down and the other camera looks slightly up, because the mentee is always going to look up to their mentor and the mentor is always kind of looking down. Now you can of course change this entirely and you can superhumanize both characters by always having it right on level. Which is also very interesting, and it's all visual shorthand. But the way that we frame these characters is really important. It's actually really, really important. Woo! Alright. So, I'm going to do this properly. This is called decapitating your character. And it is both a no-no and a yes-yes. Let me explain why. Sounds nice and clear up close? Good. I know, I need a... Oh, so what I just did when I had myself really close in frame, is called decapitating a character. There's a really famous example of this, at least as far as films, which there's a few of them, but I'm going to focus on just one. So in the movie Seven, they actually use this very specifically. Oh, I forget the actress's name. Either way, in the movie Seven, which is a psychological thriller more than it's a horror movie, but it is a very intense movie, Brad Pitt's wife is almost entirely shot in decapitation frame. where portions of the top of her head are cut off, or you only see her head and shoulders. What's in the box? And that's actually the whole point. You see, there's a visual shorthand there where they tell us the entire movie what is going to happen to the rookie cop's wife. And it's been a long time, so it's no longer a surprise. I'm sure you've heard it. But the thing is, it's not just used in Seven, and it's actually used in other movies. It's used in the Final Destination movies. It's used in other things. But decapitation doesn't necessarily mean that the character is going to lose their head. Sometimes it can mean they're going to metaphorically lose their head. And sometimes it's actually specifically to illustrate that someone is unwell. So, if you actually watch yet another movie with Brad Pitt, 12 Monkeys, which also has, well, it's besides the point. Oh, well, if you haven't heard it, there you go. And it was an intentional choice that was done throughout the movie to actually carry along this subtle message of what was going to happen. Now, in the movie 12 Monkeys, which has Brad Pitt and Bruce Willis in it, they also use decapitation, but they don't use it to imply monkey. They don't use it to imply a visceral ending of the character. They actually do it specifically to give you a direct window into the fact that both Bruce Willis and Brad Pitt are playing people who are not necessarily the most stable people. We are directly in their face. We are directly in their face, and we are directly in their space, and we can quite heavily actually follow along with all of their emotions, but we're not seeing them as a whole person. We are just seeing them in our face, which is confrontational. Now, that's not every single scene, but that's very certain scenes, and they're very specifically played, and they're very specifically paced. Again, to give us a direct window into the characters and the fact that they are not necessarily reliable people, but it also is trying to get us directly into a space where we can't ignore what they're saying, what they're feeling, or how their face is moving. And that's really important. So that is another very simple technique that can be employed depending on what you're trying to do. The more you want someone to feel a certain way about a person, the more you're actually going to have to specifically guide the mind, guide the eye to that space. Oh. I think it's actually really awesome. Yes, and that's the thing. So in all visual media, big and small, very carefully chosen camera shots or types of shots can really very specifically inform the viewer what's going on. And if you don't choose properly, if you just say, we're just going to shoot one way the whole time, you can leave something flat. It's visually flat, and therefore it doesn't matter how great it resonates emotionally, be it by dialogue or writing, people are going to feel off about it. But sometimes you want people to feel off. So, oof, if I can get this to work. There's some interesting ways that you can actually make someone feel off. Oh, thank you so much. Oof. Let me just fix something here. This is what happens when you keep adjusting your camera for stuff. Now, you might not necessarily see this one right away. Oh, yes, thank you. All right. Okay, so my lighting is actually slightly off now. So let me just go ahead. I gotta stop this thing. Now, let me also change one other thing. So there's this really fun stuff that we can actually do. Camera-wise, hey, not so dark anymore now, is it? It's still pretty dark, but it's not as dark. So I've actually gone ahead and I've done something very subtle that you might not necessarily see right away, but it is there. This is a Dutch angle. Now, the camera is ever so slightly skewed, so you're not seeing me straight on. Why would someone want to do this? To unbalance you. Visually, to unbalance you. I don't want you to feel level. But this could be for a number of different reasons. It could actually be because maybe the person on camera is not feeling level. Maybe there's tension, maybe there's anxiety, maybe there's nervousness, maybe they're having hallucinations, maybe it's spiraling out. Or maybe it's because something awful is going to happen and you need to be unbalanced or ill at ease. And it can be hard to put your finger on, sometimes with incredibly hard Dutch angles. It's very easy to see that you're not standing level. This one, ever so slight. Ever so slight. And because it's ever so slight, you might not notice it right away, but if you're ever watching a movie and something just doesn't seem right, you can feel nervous already. Not just because of spooky music, not just because of a big empty house on the screen, but the room just doesn't feel right. Stop that film and then check. Is everything tilted? Askew? Has the DP decided they want you to feel unbalanced or out of place? If so, you are in a Dutch angle, and that Dutch angle is meant to create tension. Oh. No. Here we go again, back here. Oh. Twilight Zone. It's a good choice. Good choice. So, thank you very much. Now, in the thought of the Twilight Zone, Rod Sterling's delivery is one of the things that made that excellent. Rod Sterling, of course, your wonderful host. Imagine a world, a door beyond dimension, time, where all your feuds endure. Oh. Now, we will press on. Each one of these are very small things which play crucial roles in every film we watch. In ways that you might not realize. In ways that you might not see. But, whether you see it or not, it doesn't change the fact that they are there with purpose. Case in point, the 180-degree axis. An 180-degree axis itself is pretty easy to imagine. Say you have two people, one's here, and one's here, and they're in a conversation. Our 2 points are where our cameras are going to focus, but we're going to do something very simple and very easy. The 180-degree axis actually means that the camera can go ahead and it can travel between those 2 points, 180 degrees, but never any further. You want this to feel natural. Now, this isn't the only time to use it, but this particular axis filming is very basic, very straightforward, and very necessary. If you have two people talking, you want the camera to go on a track, or maybe just go on a dolly, or just on a steady cam harness, just back and forth. And you can go anywhere on this circle, but you cannot go past it because you have 2 points of reference, and those 2 points of reference on that axis are what matter for the scene. Now, it's not always the case, because sometimes the case is the thing is here and somewhere else on that axis, and you just want to go ahead and circle it, provide additional focus or different angles or different ways to view that thing, whatever it may be, person, thing, animal, building. Now, when you do it with a building, it is really useful. When you do it with something like a car going down the highway, it's a difficult shot to do, but it is very doable, and they use it in movies because they're actually trying to go ahead and give you something. Now, there are variations of this where they'll go ahead and they'll actually have a swivel on the camera. So while it's going around something, it can swivel around and then trail back. So maybe you're looking head on to a car going down the highway, and then you turn, and then you actually, and this does change the type of shot, but if it's a swivel 180, you can actually go ahead and spin the camera all the way around and then show everything that the car will pass as it goes. And then when you get to the back, you start to turn the other way, so you're actually looking at the car going down the road. And they do utilize shots like this, especially in things. There are shots like this that can be taken an example in the Fast and the Furious movies, and some of the shots in the Blues Brothers movies where they'll have a swivel 180 where the camera will be moving, and it will be moving around a moving object, and it gives you a really interesting perspective, and it can actually make something like a high-speed chase in film feel even more high speed, or feel like the stakes are higher. So there's just so many different things. But this is ultimately a talk about what you can do with indie film. So sometimes you need to make quick changes. So doing stuff. Oop. Oop. We'll get this to work in a second. Ugh. Doing this on the fly like this is not easy. But there we go. Alright. Got that done. So now that I actually have this done, we'll just make an adjustment here. I can actually go ahead and with a very basic piece of gear and a handheld phone as my camera, I don't have to hold the phone in a normal position. I can actually steady cam it this way. And I can do a 180 pan. Now a pan shot is something also very particular and very useful. A pan is when the camera is moving. Now there's lots of ways to pan. You can pan up, you can pan down. I think I just got those reversed. You can do a pan out, a pan in. You can do a pan up. And this little simple tool actually makes this so easy. And there's actually connectors on this, so if you need to hook your microphones or whatever to it, you can. Fast, easy. No rules? Well, there are and there aren't. And that entirely depends on what you're doing. So there are rules, but some of them are very loose. There's also this, which actually I can't, trying to think. So this is also a pan, but it's a angled pan. And what you'd actually do is you do this specifically, like if you wanted to go ahead and highlight something, but in a way that didn't necessarily directly tell you what was going on. So there's actually times where this is a pan. Now, it's hard to imagine what that would look like unless it's put right in front of you. We'll think on that one, because I will have to actually do that specifically to show. Piece of gear here. It's really fun. Right. Now, it's a little awkward looking the way I just did that, but and that's a motion shot, and it is occasionally used in movie, TV, things of that nature, but it does have a very specific purpose depending on what you're doing. Now the fun thing is a shot like that can actually be used to make it look like someone's standing up from a sitting position. But it can be used for all sorts of different things as well. So that is yet another thing that can be done to give motion or just to create some movement and not just movement like motion, but movement that is energetic. And you want energy in things. So the more ways that you can think of to create energy with your shots, the more ways that you're going to guarantee that someone is going to feel something. Now, you don't want to overload people, but you do want to make a point. Now, say this is my camera for this instance. I have choices. I can tilt. There's a right here moving all around. I can go ahead and this is actually how you're going to create that nice Dutch angle. Now you notice I'm not going to go completely askew, just slightly. Stabilize it right there. And then now it's slightly askew, just slightly. Say I want to make it severe. Now it's a lot more severe. And someone's going to feel incredibly unbalanced. These are all tools within our toolbox as film creators. And if you're ever considering getting into filming or getting your feet wet, even if it's just making small videos, knowing the different ways to convey different things means a great deal, and it can be very useful. Slow pan, fast pan, high pan, intense close-up. Now, there's certain things that I don't have the capacity to properly show right now, but I'm going to try another one if I can. Let's go ahead and let's get this. This is really hard to do. That's hard to do right. This is a high shot, as high as I can get it by hand right now. Now, if you actually pull the focus further away, and you get it really high up and away, there we go. Get that focus really high up and away, you can actually create an interesting thing where it seems like the subject has actually been eaten, kind of swallowed up by your scenery. It's very hard to get that by yourself without having a lot of setup ahead of time, but it is another trick that you can use to create a mood, an atmosphere. Oh, getting a little hot. I'm getting a little sweaty. I hope that you've been enjoying this, and we're gonna press on. We're gonna talk about a couple more things, but when it comes to film composition, the most important thing is finding the language of visuals. We're learning the language of visuals, I should say, not finding, learning. Now, in some ways there are very loose rules, and in other ways there are times where there are no rules. But ultimately, there are certain fundamental rules, especially if you pair them with lighting choices, music choices, dialogue, or you don't have to even use dialogue. If someone's muscular dialogue, their body language is quite strong, you can go ahead and convey something with nothing more than body language, scene, shot, and lighting. Quite true. And all of these things create our final composition. What's going to wonderfully infer to the viewer what we would like them to feel. And if too many of these elements are at odds, if your lighting and your composition shot, your composition and your shot, and your dialogue or your body language, and your music, if they don't quite sync up right, it's glaringly obvious. I'm sure you've seen some bad movies in your life. But the thing is, there isn't necessarily a bad movie. There's just a movie that wasn't given the amount of time or money or reshots that were needed. And I've said this before and I'll say it again, film is very forgiving, especially now in the digital age. When it comes right down to it, we have the ability to carry on, to keep filming. And because we have the ability to carry on and keep filming, that's exactly what we can do. As long as you have the capacity to store the files and to keep doing the shots, you can take as long as is needed to create your masterpiece. Case in point, yes. Okay, so Phil Tippett created a movie called Mad God. Now, Phil Tippett actually started working on Mad God 30 years before it was released. I'll just let you take that in for a moment. 30 years. It was a stop-motion animation movie that he started writing, I believe it was the late 1970s. And then he began actually doing the filming around the 80s. Now, Phil Tippett worked on things like Jurassic Park. I believe he worked on one of the Terminator movies. He worked on some of Ridley Scott's films. But Phil Tippett made a movie, Mad God, and he took 30 years to finish it. It is a stop-motion animation movie. And it is a great example of what happens when you actually allow yourself to remember that it's art. It's art. And because it is art, if you have the capacity to work on something for as long as you need to finish it, there is absolutely nothing wrong with taking longer. Maybe 30 years seems like, wow, that's a long time to finish one film, but you know, if that's your project and that's what you're committed to while you're making other movies, do it. Do it. It is. It's so hard. Stop motion is ridiculously hard. Most stop motion movies do take a few years to make anyway. In the case of Phil Tippett's Mad God, it took 30 years. I can only imagine. And I'm going to be fair, I have only seen a clip of the movie. I have not seen the full film. Regardless, it took him 30 years to do it. So, hats off. Phil Tippett, of course, is very famous. But regardless, that's what he wanted to do, and he did it. Now, in the case of my own films, I have lots of things I want to do, and, you know, I'm going to do them. Yes. You know, the hardest part sometimes, when it comes to making a film, it's just finding the coin to do it. Sometimes you have to really save up those coins. But if you don't have any coin, or you have limited coin, like most indie filmmakers, don't worry. You can still achieve. Oh, this is. I'm literally throwing out coins. You can still achieve whatever your vision is, even with limited money. It's just a matter of time and dedication. Oh, I have to take one of those coins. I did actually want to do that shot in a cinematic way. Unfortunately, I couldn't get the right angle before this to do it. So don't worry. I will do it at some point, just because it's fun. And that's actually one of the things that I'm trying to say is it's not about the money so much as it is the time. And time is on your side. And when I say time is on your side, I don't necessarily mean it's actually on your side. You know, time does what time does, and we have to work within it. But time is on your side in regards to if you dedicate yourself to something and push and keep going, you can and you will achieve what you intend to. Or you'll get really close. I believe you will. And I believe I will. It's all about taking the time to put in the time. So, no matter what shot you want to do, no matter what kind of movie you want to do, the largest barrier is time. And this brings us back to some points I was making in a previous live and video I did, which is practice. Practice, 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 practice. If you know there's a specific thing you want to do, practice it. If you know there's a specific shot you want to get, practice it. If you know there's a specific lighting type you want, figure out how to set it up and practice. Just practice that setup. Do test footage. And almost every major motion picture involves test footage. So important. So, even this is in a way me making test footage. It's practicing things such as composition, shot, as well as lighting and stylization that I want to do. So I highly recommend going out and practicing and trying new things as often as is possible, because that is actually what's going to get you the ability to do those things you want to do. All right. Now, we are getting pretty far along, and I know I've been talking for a while, so I'm going to get something else in my horn. I have this nice red wine here. Nice red. Ooh. I always appreciate the emotes. Just a little red wine. Just a little. Just a Now, if you would like to see more streams and videos like these, please let me know. Your response obviously informs me a great deal about what you enjoy and what you would like to see more of. And if you would like to help support uh, my YouTube channels, my Twitch, and my creative endeavors, you can always go to my Ko-fi and make a donation there. I would greatly appreciate it. Oof. And then if only I could find everything. I had all this stuff pulled up, and then I went ahead and did keep it pulled up. Ah, there we go. So you can donate to the Ko-fi, my Ko-fi, for to help support all these wonderful creative endeavors. The link has just been put in the chat, but you can also go to my Patreon, support me on Patreon, and if you support me on Patreon, you can have concurring support, and you can get fun little perks like being able to see exclusive pictures and read exclusive story content that is only there and nowhere else right now. I don't like this red wine. At least not right now. Mm. Hmm. It's a lot more bitter than I remember. I think it's the heat we've had lately. I wonder if it actually started to push the wine over the edge. That's possible. Very possible. Now, so I have this wonderful smoke going. That's the thing about the green screen is you gotta actually make sure that you're always in the right spot. I messed this up somehow. There we go. I like this. This is fun. So of course when I opened up the video today, and the lighting has been changed since then, so I'm getting this shadow behind me. But you know, this smoke, animated smoke background, some really basic with the green screen here. And one of the things that it's really useful for, the green screen itself, is if you go ahead and use a green screen like this, and then you actually enter stuff into a editing software afterwards without this overlay, or yeah, without this animated overlay behind it. Yeah, if you don't have the animated overlay already there, and then you just film and leave the green screen itself, what you can do is you can put these animations in, or you can actually hyper or superimpose shots. Superimpose. Mesh that in, and you can clean it up and make it look a lot nicer. A lot nicer. But even with something simple like this here, you know, I can get really interesting and dramatic shots. And because it's still lit, I can get this really weird kind of close-up. And I like that, actually, now that I look at that over there. Look at that. So, and that close-up, actually, I would have probably kept something like that. I could use that for something very specific. A close-up like that with very intense underlighting, but the dark in the back and the fore lighting itself. It can be used to really push a number of different intense scenes if you wanted, or try, who knows? I'm now questioning what emotion I would drive with something like that, so I'm going to think on that for a moment. Film school. Yeah, school, almost any specialized art, the schooling for is very expensive. Yes. I won't argue with that. Oh, all right. Well, we are actually getting to the last 15 minutes of this, and I do hope that you've enjoyed our conversation today. Again, if there's anything that you would like to see in future videos where I talk about film in regards to these kinds of compositions, these kinds of shots, or additional shots, because there's really so many of them, and I can only scratch the surface of what each of these are for and what they can do and the variations thereof, because there are many variations, and you know, I just can't cover everything in the hour and a half that we're together, but we can do a lot. Now, if you're not currently following me here on Twitch and you're watching, please follow. I would appreciate it immensely. And you know, you can also subscribe to my YouTube, which I will now drop right in here. And if you're already subscribed to my YouTube, please, you know, spread the word, tell other people, subscribe, like and comment, please. not to, you know, be a little needy, but please follow me here on Twitch, subscribe, comment, share my videos, and you know, I appreciate you all very much. and I appreciate being able to have conversations like this. Now, I'm going to let you know that next weekend, I'm probably not going to have a Saturday night show, but I will let you know beforehand in the week what's going to happen. However, next week I'll be taking a slight and unbelievably needed vacation. So, just letting you know that my video content might be a little sporadic next week and next weekend, but don't worry, you know I'm going to be back with you, so don't worry. Let me finish this one. And of course, if you are on Instagram, you can find me at Your Saturday Night. Same name as this channel. It's a good question. Did you click the link? Did I mess the link up? Oh, no. Link works. I don't know. Oh. Oh, yes, the link to YouTube works. You can't subscribe here on Twitch yet because I am not yet an affiliate, but we are on our way. And when I am an affiliate, please subscribe. Yes. Don't worry. It's okay. I understand. I get confused too. I'm confused right now. Are you confused? I'm confused. What's so confusing? Everything. Ooh, you know, I'd take 20 more followers. I'll take 10. I'll take 20. I'll take whatever I can get. But I will say this now. We are getting really close to fall and winter here. So, what I'll say is, what's today? All right. If you can share me around and help me get an extra 20 followers before September is up, I will do a live stream where I swim in the river. It has to be before September is over. And it has to be 20 followers. I need 20 more followers before September is over. And if you can help me get there, I would appreciate it. But I will do a live stream where I swim in the river. It will probably be cold. Very cold. Very, very cold. So cold. But you heard it here first. You heard it here. Well, I've said this before, but I'm making the offer again. You heard it here first. If you can help me get 20 more followers before September is over, I will do a live stream where I swim in the river and freeze. Burr. So just give it a thought, give it a think, and you know, I appreciate all of you. I know I'm setting the bar so high. Oh. I'm recording this to upload on YouTube later. I might actually have to go ahead and go through and do some editing for this. A bunch of editing. I don't know. We're going to find out. I don't know. We're going to find out. We're going to find out. All right. We are in our last minute. 9 minutes. So, once again, I'm going to thank all of you. I'm going to wish you the most marvelous weekend. Be excellent. I appreciate all of you. You know, I've noticed the viewers go up, the viewers go down, the viewers go all around. But you know what I haven't noticed? I haven't noticed any reason not to keep rambling on. Thank you very much. Yeah, I've redone my pre-applied semester. Just a little. Just a little. Just a bit. Now, baldric. That's the word I was trying to think of. That's what you call this belt. It's a baldric. It took me the entire stream to remember. Oh, baldric. I can't believe it took me the entire stream. I was trying to think of the word at the beginning of the stream, and I couldn't think of the word, and now I just did. But I just broke a part of it because I tried to take that off in the wrong way. That's okay. I can fix that. I have the tools, the know-how, the capacity. Oh, should always make sure you keep your bracelets and your baldricks in the right places. Hopefully, you like my little plates. Keeps my spine safe. Alright, I've gone ahead and I've gotten off topic, but that is perfectly fine. I want you to know that I will be with you again very soon. Tomorrow, Sunday, I will be on to do a game stream. I'm not sure if I'm going to carry on with Dream, though I probably will, because I just needed a break in between streaming Dream. You know, I have no idea what happens either. Thank you all for being here. So tomorrow, around 5:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, I will be streaming a game. So I do hope you join me. Please follow, please subscribe to my YouTube. If you want to go ahead and support me on either Patreon or Coffee, please go ahead. Thank you so much. I am going to... Oh, 5 minutes. 5 minutes. What can I do for 5 minutes? I used to be really good at that. I'm not anymore. But, okay. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for taking the time to spend their time with me. Spend your time. No, just no? Okay, that's fair. Oh! Alright, listen. Thank you so much for being here. And I guess if I'm going to leave you with any parting wisdom, it will be this. No matter what it is you want to do in your life, no matter what your dreams are, no matter where you want to be, or where you would like to be, know that it's something that, even if not perfectly, it is attainable. You can make your dreams come true. You can grab whatever wonder out of life that you desire. And it may not be all neat and shiny and glittery the way you thought it was going to be. And not all dreams are fantasies. But you can achieve what you wish. You can reach for your stars and find your joy. You can get to that point where what you wanted can be grabbed and attained. Reach for your stars. Scale whatever mountain you have to get there. Believe in yourself. Believe in your abilities. Believe that you have great value and great importance. But be humbled by your achievements. Be humbled by what you earn. Be gracious. Be thankful. Above all else, be you. You're the best you can be if you're all the you that you are. Now, farewell. I'm going to sign off. Thank you for being here, and I wish you well. Be excellent, friends. I'll see you again soon.